What's going on, everyone? My name is Benjamin Nowak, and the next couple of videos are going to be talking about how to be successful on your first couple trips to the lake after ice out. Now, I know this is going to be foreign to some of you guys down south, but we still have ice on some of our lakes. Like, I went to 6 lakes yesterday, and none of them were accessible. They either had ice, or they had low water, or they were just totally inaccessible by boat. And so, before you go anywhere, make sure that the lake is accessible and open, so you don't waste your day trying to find an open body of water to go fishing on. Now, like, check out this clip from yesterday, because I went to 6 different places and none of them could I have gotten my boat into. Today is all about prep and recon, and what that means is I'm going out and finding which lakes have open water, which lakes are accessible by boat. Today's pretty beautiful. It's about 45 degrees, but it's like 25-mile-an-hour winds, which may not seem like a great thing, but for up here it's good, because that means if there's open water, it's going to help move that ice around and help that ice kind of break free and start to, you know, thaw a little bit more quickly. So I'm going to drive around. I have a couple lakes that are within like 25 to 45 minutes, and we're going to go check probably 5 or 6 lakes to see which ones are open. So the first lake is Sanford Lake in Sanford, Michigan, and there's open water, but what's really odd is how low the lake is. So I know there's like a drawdown, mainly because, I don't know if you guys can hear the wind, there's a drawdown because the lake upstream, Wixom Lake, is having some issues with the dam, but really it shouldn't impact this lake. If anything, it actually should draw the water up. I don't understand why this lake is so low. So Sanford Lake is open, good sign, but there's like no water in it. There's nowhere to launch. So this lake right here, where I'm standing right now, is normally in about 5.5 or 6 foot of water. And this is terrible. This is Wixom Lake in Michigan. This is probably one of the better bass fishing lakes in the state. And so for this to happen to a lake of this caliber, it's really, really disappointing. This is not like normal for Wixom Lake. So I know a lot of guys and a lot of lakes have winter pools and winter drawdowns. This is not like a normal thing for Michigan. Like, we don't do this with Wixom. We don't do this with Sanford. We don't do this with some of our lakes. So when this happens, it's really frustrating. Like, this is probably 8 to 10 foot low, and it's ridiculous because look, all this rock, all this shoreline structure, everything like up here, yeah, it's neat to see, but it makes the lake totally unfishable. So this lake here I normally probably wouldn't check, but seeing as how Wixom and Sanford were both really low, and I expected Wixom to be low, seeing how Sanford was so low, I wanted to check this lake too, because I'm just kind of curious as to if it's the whole system, which it looks like it is. This lake's low too. Yeah, the water's like really low out here too. This is bad. This is really, really bad. That, my friends, is absolutely no bueno. This is the lake that I was hoping was open. And it's not. There is so much ice. We gotta go to another lake. This is a big moment in the TRD's life. We just crossed 225,000 miles. We're at 225,000 in 1 mile. Woo woo! Dude, this is lake number 4 or 5, and there's still ice everywhere. And I understand, like, oh man, where are these dudes fishing? So as I mentioned, there are going to be 2 videos in this sort of little mini series. This video here is going to be talking about the lakes that I'm looking for and the patterns I'm going to be looking to fish, and then tomorrow is going to be the baits that I fish for largemouth and smallmouth after ice out, because that'll be super interesting, because it'll hopefully give you guys some tips, but it'll also share with you guys my thought process on how I go into these, I guess, colder water periods of bass fishing. Now, I think the biggest misconception when choosing a lake is that you want a lake with a lot of deep water. Now, while that may be true for some of you, you may have confidence fishing deep water, a lot of times it's harder to find fish in deeper water lakes. The reason for that is because these fish are going to do a couple different things. They're either going to be on the bottom in shallow water, and a lot of these deep water lakes don't have a ton of shallow water cover, so they're either going to be on the bottom in shallow water with no cover to position them, on the bottom in deep water, which can be really hard to find them, or they're going to be suspended over the breaks, which can be hard to catch them. So they're either going to be hard to find or hard to catch. So I look for a lake that has a little bit shallower water. I look for a relatively shallow lake that has a lot of shallow water cover, whether that's grass, whether that's rocks, whether that's wood, anything shallow that would hold heat and position these fish. One of the biggest things is that shallow water is going to warm up a lot quicker. So if there's a lot of shallow water cover, it's going to help hold that heat in, and these fish are going to be able to position on something. That's going to make my life a lot easier because I can run that shallow water cover and figure out what type of cover these fish are sitting on. It's also going to be nice because once I pinpoint a depth range, you can typically run that around the entire lake, find that certain cover or structure that they were sitting on, and fish that. They're relatively easy to pattern once you figure them out, and if they're shallow water and it's consistent around the lake, you can find fish, pattern fish, and target fish pretty easily. Now there's a couple different patterns that I'm going to be looking for on these shallow water lakes. The first one is fish around wood. So in my opinion, with the exception of rock, wood is going to warm up the fastest. Now the reason I choose wood over rock is because wood is going to hold heat better than rock. Wood is porous, there's holes in wood, there's little nooks and crannies. That's going to hold that heat a lot better because once it gets in the wood, it's going to stay warmer longer. So if you have a lake that has a lot of laydowns or a lot of wood, that's where I prefer to fish, or a lot of stumps. Stumpy lakes are really, really good because those fish can really kind of set up and ambush bait fish as they push by, or crawfish as they push by, or whatever the forage type is, and that wood is going to be a little bit warmer. My second pattern is going to be grass. Now, I know I'm like blowing people's minds here, but rock is like my last pattern. So my second pattern is going to be grass fishing. It's just something I have a lot of confidence in, and grass always holds fish. It doesn't matter where you're at in the country. If there's grass on your lake, and it's milfoil or hydrilla or coontail or whatever kind of grass you might have, it typically is going to hold fish. And the reason for that is grass is like the essence of life underwater. Grass is like a community buffet for everything living. And it sounds so dumb, but everything is going to live in the grass. It's the bait fish, it's the plankton, it's the microorganisms that the plankton eat. I mean, it's just all these things are going to live in and around the grass. So the bass are going to be there too. Now they might be on the edge of the grass one day and in the grass a different day, and above the grass, or you can figure them out. You just got to find the grass and fish around it. And then I'm going to look for rocks. Now, like I said, a lot of people like to fish rocks early, and I don't say that's a bad idea. I just don't do that. Riprap banks can be really good with a crankbait or with like a jig, fishing around that riprap because it's going to warm up pretty quick. Underwater rock points will be really good. Anything that will warm up quickly. Rock just tends to warm up pretty fast, and it's going to draw bass to that warmer water. I hope this video helps you guys choose what lake you're going to start on in 2019, but also acts as a teaser to make you guys think about what baits I'm going to talk about in tomorrow's video for both largemouth and smallmouth bass. So let me know in the comment section below what baits you'd choose, because I'm interested to see how you guys would approach your bodies of water early season. Now, if you've made it this far, here's the biggest tip I can give you on choosing a lake to start the year on. If you had success at the end of last season catching fish, and you have a lake that you have a ton of confidence on, and it's accessible and open, start there. Now I know this sounds obvious, but disregard anything I just said. If there's a lake that you're ultra confident in, start there. And here's the reason I say that. You're gonna know the layout of the lake. You're gonna know where the cover, where the structure, where the fish holding areas are, and you're going to have an idea where to start. If you go out to a brand new body of water, as I just showed you guys here, you can tend to get spun out a little bit easier. You can run around, check a bunch of different places. Slow down this time of year. Find something you're confident in and fish it, and cover water and find the bass. That's probably the best tip that I can give you guys. So I hope you guys all made it this far. As always, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Take care, tight lines. God bless. Pursue your passion.